Hello, everyone. We are in the plant room back in St. Louis. Going to take care of the dog when my parents go on vacation to Asia. So I'll be basically making content from St. Louis, fishing content as well as crypto content. But this is our family's house's plant room. Yes, we do have a dedicated plant room. See over there and all of there. Mom really, really likes plants. So let's talk about crypto now. So it's been very interesting. I think Gary Gensler is actually afraid of discussing crypto at all because when the interviewer asked him about crypto, he quickly snapped. Yeah, he snapped. He was like, why do you ask so much about crypto? It's only $2.4 trillion market cap versus the entire monetary market, which is $110 million. Why do you focus so much on crypto? Well, Mr. Gensler, it's because you spend a disproportionate amount of your funds harassing crypto, basically, and you don't want to own up to it. So we're going to ask you. He's trying to evade any kind of real answers, specifically about Robinhood, because many legal analysts have said like the SEC actually stands a really, really good chance of losing, which would be another big L for Gary Gensler, and he's been taking a lot of those L's lately. The thing about against Coinbase isn't going so well, and that's going to bode not well for his case against Binance and other things. But the thing is, like, when the interviewer asked him specifically about crypto, he basically just snapped this time. He's like, why do you ask me so many questions about that? It's also because crypto is the most interesting aspect of it. The other parts of the market are pretty much firm and stable. We already know what's going to happen in those sections of the market. Where crypto is a lot more uncertain. Like legal battles, the SEC fights actually go both ways. A lot of times they lose, and that's very not common for a government agency. Government agencies don't lose a lot of these legal battles. They tend to win pretty much all of them because, they generally are in the right, and they're basically just trying to fight scammers that are trying to get away with things. With crypto, the SEC, at least as the courts see it, they're really trying to press their authority where it's like unwarranted. They're trying to stretch their authority, which is why the courts have struck them down time over time again. And this whole thing about their lawyers getting sanctioned with debt box, that's like a new thing altogether. Like the SEC and government lawyers rarely ever get sanctioned, if ever, on these lawsuits. And they specifically said you guys made stuff up and you guys brought forth fake evidence, which is huge for a government agency. So they're losing a lot of face. And Gensler does not want to take questions on his L's. And there's been a lot of L's lately. So Gary Gensler is definitely trying to avoid the subject altogether when it comes to interviews. When he's asked about him being subpoenaed and Congress basically forcing him to testify, he's even more evasive. So from all of this, Gensler seems to be very, very annoyed with crypto and even afraid of answering any real crypto questions with the interviews, instead snapping at interviewers that actually ask him questions about crypto, because that's really the only thing interesting about the SEC right now. And he's mentioned every interviewer generally asks him about crypto. I mean, TV interviewers or journalists, they obviously want the clicks. They obviously want the traffic, so they're going to ask about crypto. He should actually know that. And he should know that his unwarranted actions against crypto is going to bring a lot of criticism, and he does not want to talk about the criticism. And generally when someone acts like this, it's because they're afraid. They're afraid that they might expose themselves, or they might accidentally say something wrong. Because I think Gensler in the back of his head knows what the SEC is doing is wrong. And because of that, he just doesn't really want to get too deep into it because it might expose the agency. And remember, 2 of the 5 commissioners are actually very much against what the commission itself is actually doing against cryptocurrency. So he's already on shaky ground, even with in his own commission. His own commission is not unified at all. And that's just bad news for him all around. So Gensler is becoming more and more shrunken in. Gensler is becoming more and more paranoid when it comes to crypto. It's it's the boogeyman, and he's the victim right now. But, he didn't have to go through all of this. He could have been just more friendly towards crypto, and things would have actually turned out a lot better for him. But right now, he is very, very afraid of answering or talking about crypto to any extent. and he really doesn't want to be bothered by congressmen anymore. But I think he's going to get more and more subpoenas and more like demands to testify on what he's actually doing right now. The pressure is building, and you can see it from the interviews when people ask him questions about the subject. He does not want to answer because he doesn't have any good answers. So he just wants to kind of like pass it off, but there's no one to pass it off to. He is the head man for the SEC. So like he's going to be bombarded with a lot of these questions, and he sees the hate online when he sees the hate online with like Twitter and the other social media. And you might think these government bigwigs don't pay attention to that stuff. They do pay attention to that stuff. And Gensler knows the tide in public opinion is not with him at this point. So he's becoming more and more shrunken, and he's getting more and more afraid. The other news is FTX has said they'll actually reimburse 118% of the losses for their creditors, clients, etc. But the catch is you have to claim under $50,000 to actually be a part of that. Now, for most people, they didn't actually have $50,000 with FTX, so they're okay with that. But the big creditors, the big clients, the big customers, they're not going to be happy with that because they actually had a lot more than $50,000 with FTX. So FTX is like, basically like they're saying 98% of their customers are going to be made completely whole, and indeed 118%. That's not bad. But there's another caveat to the 118%. By the way they actually wrote it, it sounded like they were going to pay it back in fiat, and they were going to base the value on like when the market actually, when FTX actually crashed, which is at the bottom of the market. So you're getting like maybe 30, 40 cents on the dollar. But you'll be getting 118% of that 30, 40 cents. So it'll be more like 45 cents or something like that. So it's still a pretty bad deal, a raw deal, because if you kept it just in another exchange, you have had it expand until now, you still have 2 or 3 times the money, but it's better than other reimbursements you're going to get. It does not look like the reimbursement is going to be in crypto. I think it's going to be like USDT, USDC. It's probably going to be based on when FTX collapsed. So you basically missed all the gains for the last year, but at least you are getting your money from back then back. Now, if you're a big user of FTX, you're still screwed because you obviously have more than $50, and they didn't really give too many plans on that. So the plan might actually go through, and it's a very sticky plan because I think most people are going to vote for it because most people don't have over $50,000 or did not have over 50 grand with FTX. But for the few that did, I think it actually amounts to a decent part of what they owe. And so FTX is actually gaining a lot by not having to pay out as much. Now, you're obviously still going to get some money back if you're over 50 grand, but it's definitely not going to be 118%, may not even be 100%. I'm not really sure. They didn't really make details on that, but I think they're going to have a separate settlement for the high value holders than the rest of them. The 98% of people that didn't have over 50K in them, you're going to get the amount back. Although it will be, like I said, pennies on the dollar, but at least you're getting it back. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.